Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into Paulo Caroli's fantastic and practical guide, Cumulative Flow Diagram. We're going to demystify a tool that is, seriously, a game changer for improving pretty much any team's workflow. So let's kick things off with a question that I think a lot of us have asked ourselves. Why do our projects always seem to fall behind? You know the feeling, right? Everyone's working flat out, but delays and bottlenecks just feel inevitable. So what if the problem isn't the people, but what we're choosing to manage? And that leads us right into this really crucial insight from the author, Paulo Caroli. It's all about where we put our focus, and it requires a fundamental shift in how we think about our work. You see, he had this big realization. The key isn't to micromanage people or even to obsess over individual tasks. The secret is to manage the system that the work moves through. He has this great analogy. The workflow is like the background of a photograph. You might focus on the people in the foreground, but it's that background that makes the difference between a good photo and a truly wonderful one. Okay, so if we're supposed to manage the workflow, how in the world do we actually do that? Well, Caroli introduces this simple yet incredibly powerful tool that gives us the clear picture we need. It's called a Cumulative Flow Diagram, or CFD for short. And you can think of it like a map of your work process. But here's the thing. It's not just a static report card of what you've done. Think of it more like a living, breathing EKG that shows you the health and the rhythm of your entire system in real time. Okay, so how does this thing actually work? Well, the basic setup is super simple. Along the bottom, the horizontal axis, you have time. Going up the side, the vertical axis, is the total number of tasks you have. And then the chart itself is made up of these colored bands, or layers, showing you the status of all your work as it moves from the to-do list to doing, and finally to done. All right, this is where it gets really cool. The real power of the CFD is how the shape and the size of these bands give you real, actionable data. Let's break down the key metrics you can pull just by looking at this one chart. So first up, we've got WIP, which stands for Work in Progress. This is basically all the stuff your team is actively juggling right now. It's every plate you're currently trying to keep spinning. And on the chart, you can see your team's WIP instantly. It's just the vertical height of that middle doing band at any point in time. If that band is getting taller and taller, it's a clear sign you're taking on more and more work at once. All right, next up is lead time, and this is a big one, because this is the one your customers really care about. It answers that all-important question. From the moment we start a task, how long does it actually take to get it finished? And check this out. This is what makes the CFD so brilliant. Lead time is simply the horizontal width of that very same doing band. See that connection? It's right there on the chart. The more stuff you have in progress, the taller that band gets, the longer it takes for any single item to travel across it. Okay, next we have throughput. You can think of this as your team's horsepower, right? It's the measure of your delivery rate. It's how much valuable work you're actually getting done and shipping out the door over a certain period of time. And on the CFD, you're looking at the slope of that line that separates doing from done. If that line is climbing steeply upwards, that's awesome. It means you're knocking stuff out at a high rate. But if that line starts to go flat, well, that's a warning sign that things have ground to a halt. So when you put all these metrics together, you can start to see the health of your entire system. The CFD can tell you if your workflow is stable and predictable, or if maybe you're heading for some trouble. So, what does a healthy system look like? Well, in an ideal world, the amount of work you're starting is pretty much the same as the amount of work you're finishing. On the chart, this looks like the top and bottom lines of your doing band running more or less parallel to each other. But, when things get out of whack, the CFD basically screams at you. If that WIP band just keeps getting wider and wider, your system is flooding. You're taking on water faster than you can bail it out. And the opposite can happen too. If the band gets super skinny, you're heading towards starvation. You're running out of work to do. So that brings us to the million-dollar question, right? Especially with flooding. To go faster, you just start more things at once, right? Multitask more? Well, the answer, surprisingly, is a big, emphatic no. And Carolina explains why with a great analogy based on a proven mathematical law. And the why behind this is all explained by this incredibly powerful but simple formula called Little's Law. It's been around since 1961, and it creates this direct, unavoidable mathematical link between work in progress, throughput, and lead time. Okay, to really get this, let's use Caroli's brilliant whiskey bar analogy. Imagine you've got 12 different bottles of whiskey open on the bar. That's your work in progress. And let's say you finish about 6 of those bottles a year. That's your throughput. Well, Little's law tells us that on average, each one of those bottles is going to sit on that bar for 2 years before it's empty. Okay, now change the scene. You're at a beach house. You only have 1 bottle of whiskey. Your whip is just 1. You still drink at the same rate, right? Your throughput is the same, 6 bottles a year. But look what happens to the lead time. That single bottle is gone in just 2 months. The lesson here is huge, and it feels completely backwards at first. By having less work in progress, by focusing on 1 bottle at a time, you finish each individual thing way, way faster. Less literally means faster. And this, right here, is where the CFD becomes your best friend. It makes this abstract law totally visible. When a team decides, okay, let's lower our whip, you literally watch that vertical doing band get thinner on the chart. And like magic, the horizontal width, your lead time, shrinks right along with it. It's proof right in front of your eyes. So what's the big deal? Why does this matter so much? Because the CFD gets everyone on the same page. It takes the guesswork, the arguments, the "I feel like we're bogged down" out of the equation. It gives your team this shared objective truth about what's really happening in your workflow, so you can have productive conversations about how to make it better. And that's our deep dive into Paulo Caroli's Cumulative Flow Diagram. It's a simple chart, but it can tell you these incredibly complex truths about your work, helping you find those hidden bottlenecks so you can deliver value way faster and more predictably. And really, it just leaves you with one big question. What story is your workflow waiting to tell you?